has more. And I'm here to share with you some incredible news that our Creator is that more. And if you're connected to Him, you will find that you were made in His image, made in His likeness. Therefore, the God of more resides in us, and He has made us to be more. Now, when you look at Genesis 1, you look at all the creation and how all of this came to be, and He begins to create it. In the beginning was the heavens and the earth, and He speaks things into existence. And as He begins to speak things into existence, one of the first things He said, let there be light. And I understand this, that as He began to speak to things, whatever He spoke to became the source of whatever that created thing came from. I'll give you an example. So when He was creating the fish, He spoke to the water. He said, let the water bring forth fish. And so fish came out of the water. So when you take a fish out of water, what happens to that fish? It dies. You fillet it, put it in some batter, put it on a frying pan. My God, you got a fish fry. It dies. Why does that fish die? Because its source of life is in the water. When He spoke to the plants, when He wanted to have vegetation and plants and flowers, he spoke to the earth. He said, let the earth bring forth vegetation. So what happens when you take a plant out of the ground?
It dies.
It dies. Why? Because its source of life is in the ground. Everything that plant needs is in the earth. But something unique happened when He created mankind. He didn't speak to the stars. He didn't speak to the moon. He did not speak to the water. He didn't speak to the earth. But He spoke to Himself, the Godhead, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. He said, let us make man in our image and in our likeness. And it's almost like He looked in the mirror. He took a selfie. He said, let's make another one. And He created us in His image and in His likeness. So then, if you continue to read the story, what ends up happening is this serpent represents Satan, comes, talks to the woman, which I don't get, because it's like if a snake starts talking to me, bro, I ain't standing there having no conversation. You just need to know. In fact, something happened the other day. In Florida, these things kind of happen, but I was leaving at 5 o'clock in the morning. I go out of my garage, got my hands full, and I hit the garage door open. The garage door is going up. It gets to the top, and there is a snake hanging down off the garage door, y'all. Now, I'm a big guy, but at that moment, at 5 a.m., half asleep, I was like, oh, what do I do now? I dropped all my stuff because I'm like, I can't let it stay in there, right? So then I started getting mad because I'm like, this stupid snake messing up my schedule. Now, if you love snakes, I don't know why. But anyways, I for real, I was like, man. So I set my stuff down and I'm trying to figure out how to do the snake. Do I close the garage doors? Is he stuck between the hinges? Is he gonna fall? When he falls, you know, you just start plotting, what am I gonna do? Well, so y'all know, I pushed the garage door open and it closed. The door closes. And when the door gets to the bottom, the snake did not drop. It just decided to relax in the groove of the garage door. And I'm like, for real though? And then all of a sudden, I start seeing the body going up in between the things like this, and I'm going, so all I can see is that much of the body. And I don't know where the head is. So now I'm like, okay, oh, think fast, think fast. I said, ooh, tree trimmers. So I grabbed them big tree trimmers, because I ain't got to get too close. I stuck it in between there, and I'm like, I don't want to really hurt it. I want to take it outside. I don't know if it's poison. I just want to get it out of here. And then my mind said, just cut the thing in half. Be trying to be all nice. Peter ain't here looking at you. So I grabbed those, and I just as I go to close the blades on it, I don't know if it's in there or not, but I closed the blades, and the timer on the garage lights went off, y'all. Pitch black, just. So now, see, to tell you, listen, my garage is a mess because our water heater exploded, so we got stuff all over the garage. So for me trying to back up to get to the garage door opener to get the light to come back on again, I just set the blade down. As I'm going back, I start stumbling over all my stuff. Now I'm thinking the snake is coming after me. Every scary movie in my mind, I thought I was about to die in my garage. I don't know why I just told y'all that story, but the snake came and started talking to Eve. She starts having a conversation with the snake. That's where I was, right? Yeah, that's pretty good right there. I didn't even have a cue for that. I gotta hurry up. So she starts talking to the snake. The snake convinces her that she needs more than what she has. That God hasn't given her everything that she needs. He convinces her, hey, if you eat of this apple, and this apple, it wasn't an apple, we just know it was the fruit of this one particular tree. He said, if you eat of this tree, you'll be like God. Well, she was already like him. But he tried to convince her that she needed more. And as soon as she partook of that tree, all of a sudden, her eyes were open, and she was ashamed that she was naked. Her and Adam both, they were ashamed that they were naked, and they went and hid themselves. And all of a sudden, sin comes into the world. And when sin comes into the world, we got all this crazy drama that happens when people are killing themselves, hating on each other. But that's not what God intended. He intended us because we already had everything that we absolutely needed. We didn't need to be convinced that we needed more because we were already connected to more. He was the source of everything. But now, all of a sudden, man, we were disconnected. So just like a fish being pulled out of the water, we were disconnected from our source. And now, deep within humanity, we're constantly searching for more when really all we have to realize is that more is here. More is here. It's in you. The Creator himself has given you so much potential. And we should never use creation to find out who we are because the purpose of something is only in the mind of the one who made it. The key to understanding life is in the source of life, not in life itself. You are who you are because God took you out of himself. And if you want to know who you are, you must look at the Creator and not creation. You'll never discover who you were meant to be if you use another person to find yourself. You have to look to the one who made you. Because naysayers, people might not believe in you. People might say negative things about you. They may say you'll never make it and all those things, but I want you to know it's not their words that determine your ability. It's the one that you're connected to that determines the potential that's on the inside of you. And you're connected to more, a God that is more than enough. So we stay connected to him. You'll never know what you can do by using what I've done to measure your ability. Somebody say more.
More.
Our potential is that dormant ability, that reserved power, that untapped strength, that unused success that God has designed into each of us. God's not trying to make you into something. He's trying to expose the real you he already sees. I think you have to understand that. I'm going to say it one more time. God's not trying to make you into something. He's trying to expose the real you he already sees. Stop being a counterfeit and be the real deal. That's who made you. Being connected to more. What you see isn't all there is. There's something in everything. And what you have done is no longer your potential. Potential is what you can do, but you haven't yet done. It's what you can say, but you haven't yet said. It's where you can go, but you haven't yet gone. That's where potential lies. And you say, but you don't understand my story, man, my past. I've had all of these obstacles and I've had all these challenges in front of me. Listen to this. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us.
Amen.
Oh, yeah.
There's more on the inside of you than you actually
There's
believe.
more on the inside of you.
Or maybe that you can even recognize. So here's a pattern in that creation. Here's a blueprint. I'm going to go over these quickly. There's a blueprint in Genesis 1 where it talks about the creation. And this blueprint is a design for an immeasurably more life that God promised that we can live. And it starts when he said, let there be light. When he said, let there be light, light came. Did you know that darkness is simply the absence of light? And on the inside of you, wherever darkness exists, you represent God wherever you go. Therefore, light comes into that circumstance. It's simply this. The first thing to have immeasurably more light is vision. Everybody say vision.
Vision.
You know, Mark, one of the things I love about you is that you are loaded with vision. Y'all look around this room, look at the person next to you, you know why you're here? Because somebody had vision. And I'm not just talking about vision for himself. It's more than vision for yourself. It's having divine guidance. It's being able to understand that I exist for something more than just myself. I exist to touch people. I exist to help others. I exist to be literally an extension of heaven, actually right here on earth. And everything God is, he intended for me to be on earth. And so I have to have vision. And here's something very interesting about vision. If you don't have a vision, you're going to be stuck in what you know. And the only thing you know is what you've already seen. Somebody say, I love Helen Keller said this. She says, the only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. Woo! Helen Keller. Vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision just passes time. But vision with action can change the world. Vision with action can change the world. God had a vision, he spoke it into existence. The second thing is he created the atmosphere. He said, let the sky exist. And there's this sky and this atmosphere that was created. And here's something that's very important for us to understand. In this world today, there's a lot of atmospheres that you can be a part of. And some of those atmospheres have a whole lot of negativity around it. Anybody ever been in a negative atmosphere? It don't feel right. You walk into a room, you're like, something ain't right. Listen, if you're in a negative atmosphere, you can't flourish. You are disconnected from the environment you were meant to be in. You were designed for more than negativity. You were designed to be positive. You were designed to release positivity into the world, into the earth. You were designed to be a part of God's design, which is bringing positivity. But this is what happens in the atmosphere that's around us. You turn on the news and you begin to find out, and you can look at those things and complain about all the things that are going wrong and all of the bad things that are happening. But I learned that I can sit there and be negative and complain, or I can do my part and make a difference in one person's life. I can be positive with one person. So here's 3 G's to shifting the atmosphere around you. The first one is this, grace. Everybody say grace? Grace. Yep, cut people some slack instead of cutting them off. Be humble and have compassion. Forgiveness is powerful. Contact people and clear the air, even if the smallest offenses. Try to live a life that's not offended all the time. People are so sensitive. You just get so sensitive about everything. Listen, live above all of that. Be positive and be supportive. Give grace to people. Because none of us perfect. If you're perfect, well, I want to know you. Second thing is gratitude. Be thankful. If you want to shift the atmosphere, be grateful. And then the last one is generosity. Give, give, give. Not just your money, but your time, your resources. Just give, man, give. Why? We're like our Creator, who was the ultimate giver. He's put that on the inside of us. That's how you shift an atmosphere. And then the third thing is structure. If I say structure. So he created the land and he began to build. All the vegetation and things came out of the ground. We are made to be builders. So, but you got to be connected to vision. And as you begin to create structure, one of the things that has happened in our life, and I want you to hear me very carefully, because most of us end up struggling in life because structures have been erected in our minds and in our hearts because we've had experiences that have built these structures, and these structures begin to lie to us and tell us we can't go any further. You can't go any further. You can't make that happen. You can't go there. You can't be that. And it begins to tell you all of these things like you're not worthy. These are structures that are erected in us because these experiences have come to us that have allowed these structures to be built. Well, what God wants you to do is get a vision from Him. Allow your atmosphere to be shifted so that you can begin to change the structures that have been built. Now, we try to speak information into our structures. Information doesn't change structures. Structures got there through experience. And this is very important. Hear me very carefully. This is deep for a second. I'm going to go in deep water for a second. Structures, if they get there by experience, the only way you can help someone tear down the structure that has been erected in their life is to give them a different experience. If experience creates a structure, then let's give an experience that changes that structure. If someone has a poverty mindset, that is a structure that they weren't designed to live in. And you can give information, but they'll never apply it because they've got a structure that says, I'm not worthy of that. But if you, living out of the God that is in you, represent the more in that person's life, you can give them experience that changes the negative experience that they had before. So give of yourself. And then the next one is order. If your life is out of order, there's things that are happening, you just get, we think order is all about just having control. It's not having control, it's about relinquishing control to the one that's in charge. If you relinquish control to the one that's in charge, He will help guide you through giving you vision, changing your atmosphere. He will put you around the right circumstances because He's in charge. He will allow order to begin to come into everything He's created you to be. And then the next one is movement. Everybody say movement. Come on, say it again, say movement. Did you know that the human body was made to move? If you sit still and you don't move, your body will literally begin to seize up. You will become weak. In fact, everybody stand up for a second. Want the worship team to come on out? You were designed to move. Everything that God created and the more is all about movement. He created man and He said, hey, I want you guys to go be fruitful and multiply. Don't drive yourself by doing. You weren't created a human doing. You were created a human being. Go and be more. Right? Go and be more. So it's all about movement. Everybody say movement. All right, DJ, can you help me out? Just help me out because we got to move a little bit. We got to move a little bit. All right? Okay. All right? Okay. All right. Y'all looking kind of stiff. Come it up. Okay. Everybody move. Come on. Move. There it is. See? Just like that. Right? Come on, moving. Yeah. Okay. I gotta stop. You can be seated. Okay. Just keep it moving. You know why God made you? To be able to move? Because if you keep moving, you'll be unstoppable because greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world. He made you to move so that you can be unstoppable. Don't allow circumstances to stop you. Just keep moving. Keep moving. Keep moving. And then there is relationships. He created us in His image. Relationships. How many know relationships are important, but some relationships can also be messy? There can be a whole lot of drama in relationships. Woo. But God created them. And if you follow this blueprint, you can stop looking to people to meet a need that only God can meet. You see, I learned with my wife a long time ago. She is a human being and she's imperfect. But I'm connected to a God who is perfect, who is more. So stop asking from her what only I can get from God. See, when you get married, you bring all your baggage from your past into that relationship, and you want that person to fix all your stuff or to meet all your needs, basically stuff that they didn't have anything to do with. So you bring all that stuff to God and stop dumping it on your partner. And let him meet your need, and he'll help you out. Okay, now I'm meddling, so forgive me, I don't mean to do that. I'm all up in your business and stuff, so let me just back on up and get back on track. The last one is rest. Everybody say rest. Rest. All right, it's a gift that God gave us. Very important. If you want more, if you want